Okay, this is such a fun topic to me. How to start your spiritual journey. And by far and away, it can be boiled down to one word. And I bet you're wondering what that word is. And I want to tell you, but I also feel like I'd love to hear in the comments what you think it might be before I say it, because it is something that has changed my life over and over and over, but it's really, really hard. And are you sure you want to know? Because I think once you know it, you can't unknow it. And then you have to take responsibility for it. So I would say the one word in how to start your spiritual journey is surrender. You surrender to the journey. And as I say it, I am covered in goosebumps from my head to my toes, because that one word, even just the resonance and the vibration of the word, is powerful. Surrendering to your path, surrendering to your soul contract, surrendering to the life that you may say it in a way as that God has set forth for you, surrendering to the path that you are meant to live this lifetime. Because really, what is the ultimate question of life? Why am I here? What the hell am I doing here? What on earth is this all for, right? And so as you are searching and you are asking questions and you are wanting to start your spiritual journey, the number one word that will resonate and come to you over and over and over as you walk your path is surrendering to what comes next. That for me has been the most profound belief that I have chosen to hold on to. The surrendering is the journey. And I think as we go through this little video, you will begin to see what I mean. I'm so happy that you're here. This is so fun to me to come to you with topics about, gifts and abilities and spiritual journeys and spiritual awakening and talking to, our guides and mediumship and channeling. And I love all these things. So I wrote some little questions that I tend to get so excited about what I'm talking about. Sometimes I get off topic. So I use little note cards sometimes off camera just to keep me on track. When we are going on a spiritual journey and we have decided, yes, we're going to surrender, we're going to do whatever is asked of us, what comes next, if it feels in alignment with our life and our walk. So the question I have is, why is it surrender? Why is surrender the one word that will change your life? The reason why surrendering is so powerful is because it causes us to step forward in faith, because we have no idea what will happen if we surrender to the next step, because it calls us forth to be brave. Bravery being feeling fear and choosing to walk that next step anyway. It's scary. So I can give you an example of why surrendering is powerful. I work with my spirit guide team. I have a lot of resources in my walk. And one thing that my guides were showing me in January of this year of 2021 is it's time to make your YouTube channel. Oh, that felt so scary, you guys. That felt so scary. I'd already had Warrior Goddess Garden on Facebook, and I made little videos on there, and I was really enjoying it. I had no idea how much I love to talk about spiritual awakening and anything having to do with spiritual anything. I love it. It is my life. This is why I'm here. And so the guides were like, okay, it's time. Every time they tell me it's time, what are you doing? We've been showing you this. Come on, girl, jump, let's go. And I am learning through the years, I would say about the last 10 years, It's like every time that I'm shown the next step, if I surrender, and this is the why, if I surrender, my path widens. New abilities come on board. I'm given more answers. I'm shown more. I get more downloads. That is the path to everything. The surrendering to it. I'm not going to live in fear. I'm going to live in love. And when I live in love, I choose bravery over and over and over. So that is the why of surrender. The next one I have is how. How do you surrender? What does that even mean? What on earth, Carrie, are you talking about? The how is you'll feel a prompt. So it may come quietly at first. It may just be an inkling of like, I really feel like I'm supposed to have this hard conversation with this person. Trust that. That is how. You trust the inklings. And then maybe if you don't trust the inklings, the lesson will come to you in a bigger way and possibly more unpleasant. And so I've learned every time I'm given a prompt to do something that is really on my heart, it usually is something that scares me. And then next, it's something that I know that I need to do. And honestly, I'm never disappointed when I have these talks. Yes, it might be something hard, or when I have these prompts of like, this is the next step. Don't get me wrong, it still feels scary, but I do it anyway. And amazing things start to happen. Amazing things start to open up for your life, and your life gets more juicy. Your life gets more interesting. I've noticed like I have friendships that I've always wanted that now I have, and these hopes and desires that I've had in my life are coming to fruition. For example, I can give you for when is I was shown that there was a time in 2020 that I was shown that I was able to channel and work with the Arcturian Council, and which completely blew my mind. I mean, holy crud, like what? Like, okay. And so the win is being after I was shown by my spirit guides that I am Arcturian and I have the ability to talk to the Arcturian Council, and they are going to be my mentors and teachers, and that I am to utilize them. I obeyed. I started channeling them. I knew like I'm getting to where I trust the surrender enough, and I've been shown over and over and over that when I do it, it's always in a way rewarded. So I've learned to deeply trust that. So in answering the win question, it's like, I've learned that every time I'm prompted on the last 10 years, how everything has been a slow progression to where I am now. And where I am now is, what I can see is coming is like, this will be my career. This will be what I do. This is my life path. This is where I'm meant to be. I am meant to be, a coach and a teacher, and to help others on their spiritual journey. And it's only because every time I've gotten the prompt, I obey and I take the next step in surrender. And then the last one, but then I have a bonus. So stick around for the bonus at the end. But who? So when I say surrender, and then a natural question to ask is, surrender to who? Okay, well, that's a phenomenal question. Like, really, who are you talking about? Who are we working with? Person's heart path on earth has a soul tie to source. And you can call source whatever you want. That's the beauty of it. I love that so much. It's customizable. You can call source whatever you want. If you want to call it God, if you want to call it you're a follower of Jesus, or you follow Allah, or you are a follower of angels, whatever you like to call source, you may. That's the beauty. We have free will. It's so inspiring. And the Arcturian Council, and being a medium and a channeler, it's like, wow, the lid has been blown off all these truths that I had boxed in. And when I say, who are we surrendering to? You're surrendering to the next step for the call of your heart. So it's, who are you working with? Are you working with God? Are you working with Jesus? Are you working with the Arcturian Council? See, I feel like the big secret is it's all God. It's all source. It's the great I am. That's the big secret. Like, you're surrendering to the great void, you're surrendering to the all. And it's in each of us, and it's everywhere. And the beautiful thing about that is that it has never led me astray. As I surrender over and over, it takes me deeper and deeper down the most beautiful path that I could never even have conceived of. When I started on my spiritual journey about 15, 20 years ago, I mean, I could have never conceived that, my path would take me to having a YouTube channel and then being a medium and, channeling and, creating a career for myself that allows me to be home with my children, right? Like, all these paths of surrender take us to places that are so meaningful and so beautiful. And it's really like a call home to your own heart. So that's the who. And then the bonus question I have is, or it's not even a question, it's a statement that I wrote down. It says, follow all the rabbit trails. I feel like this is a really important part of the surrender on how to start your spiritual journey, because I feel like we come to a place in our life where we realize that we are waking up and we have a path before us that feels very, very exciting and juicy and hopeful. But we might have this set of rules or ideals in our mind that really stop us from exploring and examining anything and everything that we can get our hands on. And I want to encourage you that if that is resonating for you, I encourage you to follow all the rabbit trails, because it helps you kind of unshackle your belief system in such a way that helps you then have the view or create the consideration that there are many paths to God, and that you can let go of the judgment that maybe you held with your belief system, up until this point. Following the rabbit trails for me has allowed me to see that I think of God or source as the sun. And then we as humans, we are like the planets and the stars circling around. And there are many paths. Think about how different all the stars and the planets look, and how many pathways there are to the source of the sun. And so when I began to look at religion and spirituality and our soul paths, it helped me so much to follow all the rabbit trails of my mind that my mind could perceive of, like, well, what about this? Is that okay? What about this? Is this okay? Like, gosh, I wasn't allowed to think this growing up. Gosh, I was told when I was little that this was wrong, or I was told as a teenager that this was of the devil. I was told when I was in my 20s that this was the work of a witch. I was told in my 30s that this was evil. When I began to follow all these rabbit trails and integrate new truths into myself and surrender to the idea that there are many paths on our spiritual journey, and they all have the ability to lead to source, to lead to God, to lead to the oversoul, to lead, I realized that surrender is the one word that culminates how to start your spiritual journey. Surrender to the opportunities, surrender to the inklings that you get from source, surrender to new abilities, and it's a wild ride, you guys. It is a wild ride. And that is the reason why I created Warrior Goddess Garden. It was a prompting to me last March of 2020. I was shown by my guides of like, this is it. You're starting this. This is what it's going to be called. They told me what to call it. And this is your new life. And it's because I was ready and I surrendered to it, even though it felt really, really, really scary to put myself out there because it alienated people. And I know people are thinking, who the heck does she think she is? But you know what? I kind of feel like at this point in my life, if people aren't asking, who the heck does she think she is? Then I'm not really living and I'm not really surrendering to my spiritual journey. I hope that my life, because I'm being brave, gives you inspiration and gives you hope, and I would love to hear like, how to surrender, how does that resonate for you? What does that feel like? Are you following the rabbit trails? Why have you chosen to surrender? How are you choosing to surrender? When do you surrender? And who are you surrendering to? Like, it's so beautiful and it's so fascinating. And I want us to be a community where we can share about that with each other in such respect